He thought he bought a peaceful home in the woods. Then he found what was buried beneath the basement. When Jonathan Reeves bought the old colonial house on the outskirts of Ashgrove, he thought he'd found a dream. Nestled at the edge of a dense forest and set apart from neighbors by a half-mile of cracked, tree-lined road, the house was everything he had wanted: secluded, spacious, and cheap. Too cheap. The realtor, a nervous woman who kept glancing at the surrounding woods, had simply said the place had been on the market for too long. No explanation. No history. Jonathan, recently divorced and seeking solitude, didn't care. He wanted quiet. He wanted to forget. But the house didn't want to be forgotten. The first week was uneventful. Jonathan unpacked, set up his bookshelves, lit fires in the hearth, and reveled in the silence. No neighbors. No traffic. Just the sound of wind brushing the trees outside and the soft hum of cicadas at night. Then came the knocking. It started on a Thursday, just past midnight. Jonathan had just settled into bed when he heard a sharp, deliberate knock, 3 quick taps, on the front door. Knock, knock, knock. He froze. Who would be out here at this hour? He grabbed a flashlight and went downstairs, heart pounding. The porch was empty. No footprints on the dew-covered steps. No cars. No sounds. He locked the door and went back to bed. The next night, it came again. This time, from the back door. And the night after, from the upstairs hallway. Even though he knew no one else was in the house. By the 4th night, Jonathan was barely sleeping. The knocks grew bolder, louder, and they began coming from places where there were no doors at all. Knock, knock, knock. Inside the walls. He began searching, checking every inch of the house. He tapped the walls, listening for hollow spots. He examined the old floorboards. He crawled into the attic, where he found only dust and a few broken toys from another era. But in the basement, that's where he found something strange. One of the stone walls had a slight draft coming from it. It felt wrong, like the air behind it was breathing. Jonathan scraped at the old mortar and discovered that a section of the wall had been sealed more recently than the rest. He fetched a hammer and began to tear it down. Behind the stones was a narrow tunnel, lined with brick and descending into darkness. It was old, older than the house. The air was thick, heavy, metallic. Jonathan stood at the entrance for a long moment, flashlight in hand, before stepping inside. The tunnel stretched down into the earth like a throat. After 10 steps, he noticed faint scratches on the walls. Not just random marks, deliberate ones. Carvings. Names. Dozens of them. Some etched in desperation, some smeared like they were made with bloodied fingers. He read one aloud. "Elliot, forgive me." His breath hitched. He moved deeper. After what felt like hours, he reached a chamber. It was circular. Stone walls. A rusted iron grate in the center of the floor. The smell was awful, like rot and damp soil. Jonathan shined his light into the grate. Below was a pit. Something moved inside. He caught only a glimpse. Pale skin, long fingers, eyes that blinked too fast. Then it scurried away, faster than any person should be able to move. He ran. Up the tunnel. Into the basement. He bricked the entrance back up that very night, trembling as he worked. But the house didn't like that. That night, the knocks turned to scratches. Long, clawing sounds that came from inside the walls, inside the floor, under the bed. Whispers began to follow him, soft voices hissing just at the edge of hearing. You saw? You know. His dreams became feverish, visions of bodies trapped beneath the floorboards, of pale hands reaching from the walls, of eyes always watching. He stopped sleeping. The next day, he returned to town and demanded records about the house. The clerk hesitated, then reluctantly brought out a thick file. It dated back to 1894. The house had been built by a man named Elias Crane, a preacher who claimed to hear the voice of God in the woods. He was later accused of murdering at least 17 people, followers, strangers, even children. Their bodies were never found. Crane vanished before he could be hanged. The house had changed hands more than 24 times. Most owners didn't stay long. Several had gone missing. One family was found dead, locked in the basement, all with expressions of ecstatic horror on their faces, as if they had seen something divine and monstrous. Jonathan realized something else. Every owner had added to the house, new rooms, walls, basements, as if the house itself demanded expansion, demanded space. He returned home just before dusk. The woods seemed darker than before. the air heavier. As he entered, he noticed something odd. The layout of the house had changed. A new hallway now stretched where his study had been. He blinked, stared. The hallway was long, too long. He backed away, then turned, but the front door was gone. He was trapped. From the new hallway came the sound of weeping, low guttural sobs, like someone who had been crying for days. He moved forward, flashlight shaking in his hand. The hallway twisted, led down, then ended in another door. Old, wooden, crosses carved into the surface. Not Christian, older, primal. The sobbing was louder now. He opened the door. Inside was a child, or what had once been a child. Its eyes were white. Its mouth hung open in a silent scream. It sat in a pool of black water, surrounded by bones. It stared at him, and then it smiled. Behind him, the door slammed shut. Jonathan awoke in his bed. Morning sun poured through the windows. The house was silent. Had it all been a dream? He stumbled to the hallway. No endless corridor. No new doors. The front door was there, wide open. Birds chirped. He laughed until tears came. It had been a nightmare. Stress. Exhaustion. But as he stepped outside, he noticed something in the dirt. Footprints. Bare, small feet, leading from the house into the woods. He followed them, deeper and deeper into the trees, until he reached a clearing. In the center stood a stone well, ancient and moss-covered. The footprints ended there. Jonathan peered in. Far below, in the darkness, something moved. It looked up. A face. His face. Smiling. Jonathan never left the house again. Not really. His neighbors, what few there were, say they sometimes see a man staring from the upstairs window. But the house has been empty for years now. At night, those who walk near the woods say they hear knocks. Sometimes whispers. Sometimes laughter. But no one goes to investigate. No one ever comes back. And beneath the house, something waits. And hungers.